Of
Look
course.
how cute.
This is the little preemie that was only 3 pounds when she was born.
Wow.
She's catching up.
She
Out
sat
of
up.
hair.
I did
Oh, yeah.
try. Apparently I was not successful, huh?
She sat up for the first time on Sunday all by herself. So she was only 3
Aw.
pounds when she was born,
Cute.
but she's gonna be
Okay.
a Spitfire.
Good, good,
She got
good.
Well, next time I'm over
got a
there, I'll
grimace in
fiddle
here.
with it too, but I fiddled with it remotely and I couldn't, I did a couple of things, but I don't know if it had any impact. So when I can sit in front of it, I'll try again.
Okay, we are live streaming.
Okay. Well, with that, we
Okay,
will
will do.
we'll call the meeting of December 8th, 2020 Village Council for Gates Mills to order.
Yeah, I've been kind of
Allward,
thinking that for a while.
Here.
Actually, I think.
Frankel,
Here.
Yeah,
Reynolds,
Here,
Sog,
Here.
Turner,
yeah.
Here,
Well, I'll look
Welsh.
into what might be good for you.
here,
All right.
Welsh,
Here.
Whitney.
here.
Okay. Next is the minutes from the
Yeah, I
November.
agree.
Is that
agree.
Tim?
That'd
Yeah.
be more comfortable to use, I bet.
Tim?
Tim, you're talking on 2 different lines. You're on our meeting and I think you might be speaking on your phone.
Okay, all righty.
He doesn't realize he's on that. Welcome to my world. I'll go up and have a chat. I'll go up and have a chat with him. Hang on.
We'll get used to all this some point in time.
No, I want to
So,
see in that wine
It's
cellar.
minutes from the regular council meeting, November 10th, 2020.
I had a comment, and probably everybody caught this, but on the, let's see, on the first page, on the bottom there, starting with Tim Reynolds, read his report, 5th line down, again in the first quarter of 2021.
Oh, yeah, 2020. Got it.
And then on, I guess it would be page 3,
Okay.
talking about in the second paragraph there, Councilman Turner.
Wait. I don't understand what you're saying.
On the first page, Janet, it's got 2001 as opposed to.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're on the third page, second paragraph.
Okay.
For the school liaison committee, in there it says, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4th line, first sentence. The Department of Education has reduced the budgets, but only 10% comes from the state for the Mayfield School District. So that's not true for like all the school districts, but ours gets 10%.
So just add for Mayfield.
Yes,
Got it.
thank you.
Anything else? Anybody
Yeah, I
else?
hit one. I'd modify that slightly, but only 10% of Mayfield's budget comes from the state.
Okay,
Whatever.
okay. Anything else?
Yeah. On page 5, where it says, talks about resolution number 2020-42 in that paragraph.
Yeah,
On the bottom part, it says technology is a big part of the spending. 3 estimates were obtained and Burke Brothers had the best option. Somehow I'd like to tie that technology into 3 estimates. It was a little confusing because Bloom Brothers supplied the washer dryer. And so I think we should say 3 estimates were obtained and Burke Brothers had the best option for the technology.
Oh, I see, because the confusion would be the Bloom Brothers was used to buy the washer and dryer, and
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
might be a little confusing whether you meant Bloom's Brothers or Burke's Brothers, or not Burke's Brothers, Burke Brothers. But I agree, Larry, that they're so close in title that it'd be a good idea to clarify that.
Okay.
Because we did have a conversation about how expensive that washer and dryer was, earlier.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
okay. Anything else?
That was all.
Anybody else?
I'll move Move to approve.
As noted.
Who made a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Jay, seconded by Mary. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, next is pay ordinance 1244 for $331,642.35.
Move to,
Questions? What'd you say, Ed?
move to approve.
Got it.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Nancy seconded.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Welsh, seconded by Sog. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, next is treasurer's report. Tim?
Okay, thank you. November's municipal income tax receipts were $990,000,701. As discussed at the November council meeting, our receipts included an unexpected large payment from a single individual. We are told by our tax agency, Rita, that we should expect another similar payment in the first quarter of 2021. Without this payment in November, our muni tax receipts would have been approximately 250,000 versus 206,000 in November of 2019. With the large tax receipt, revenues at month end were 532,000 greater than this time last year. As expected and as usual, we received no real estate taxes in November. Year to date, our real estate tax receipts are approximately 16,000 higher than November of 2019. And our muni tax receipts are 556,000 higher than this time last year. Our overall general fund expenses are 227,500 lower than year to date November 2019, reflecting COVID-related deferred expenses and tight operational management. All departments are running well below budget. Total village reserves stand at $6,399,326. This is $834,321 higher than this time last year. Our Ancora account balance is $4,878,626, including accrued interest. The budget meeting will meet in early January after our 12/31/2020 financials are available. This is a departure from recent past practice. We would normally meet in late November and early December to finalize a budget for the next year. Due to COVID-related illnesses and the need to better understand the impact of higher municipal receipts on our finances, we felt that a delay in this case was warranted. This will also give us an opportunity to update and review the long-range financial projection to put council in a better position to understand the underlying financial structure of the village looking forward. That's my report.
Thank you, Tim.
Mhm.
Next is mayor's report. According in today's, every day we get a little briefing from Hillcrest, which is kind of nice to watch from the standpoint. I think Tom watches it too, where we are in relation to this COVID. And according to Dr. Parker, Hillcrest, this week is the week that we'll see if everybody behaved at Thanksgiving or if it's going to soar and we're going to end up paying the price the end of this week. And hopefully everyone behaved is my thoughts on that. Today I talked to somebody from our District 12, which is ODOT, and we finished the contracts in November. This is for the Route 32 safety addition at the intersection of River Road. And it goes out for bid. I asked if they had any closer thoughts on the dates. It'll be awarded February 2nd. And so they're looking for a March start date. So I thought it was going to be later in the spring, but they said no, they hope to start it in March, which I thought was kind of good news. And that's all I really have. Committee reports?
I have a cute story from the community club, and I just sent you all the link, so you probably haven't had a chance to see it. But on Channel 5 yesterday on the 5 o'clock news, there was a story about a Mayfield High School student,
Saw it.
Jenny Sarkar, who writes recently now for the Pink Sheet, and so it was featured on Channel 5 and gave a nod to the Pink Sheet. So we were kind of excited about that. Jenny is the sister of Simran Sarkar, who won the fifth grade essay contest, and so that's how.
4th of July, yeah.
4th of July, which is how we got to know her. And Jenny, being just a force of nature, came up to me and said, you know, I'm a writer and I'd really like to write for your newspaper. And I passed it along to Gail, and she was kind enough to, to interview Jenny, and, the rest is history. She now has a column in the Pink Sheet called The Future Fox. So she's just a delightful young woman, sophomore in high school.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah, good for her. So take a look at the link. It's a pretty nice feature. It focuses on technology and how that's impacting, in a negative way, Jenny thinks, American schools. So the second one is about the Chagrin River Watershed Partners. Their next board meeting is on the 10th. And I think either Anne or you, Karen, are going to present about the successful passage of our riparian ordinance, because they were very helpful with that. And they want the rest of the board members around the watershed to hear about it.
4 o'clock on Thursday.
Good. Yeah, good. And then the last thing is the Land Conservancy met today, and their part of the discussion was about deer in the village and everywhere, and how to manage that, especially on Land Conservancy properties. So Chief, they're interested in having a further conversation with you about that. So I think it's Cindy Z, and I will be getting in touch with you.
Okay,
That's it.
thank
I
you.
have
Anybody else?
Yeah, from the Improvement Society, we are partway through trying to raise the money for the village employee Christmas bonus fund. I think it's lagging a little bit at this point compared to prior years. I would have thought that with Thanksgiving weekend, people might write checks or pay by credit card. I think we're going to just send out a reminder postcard to those that have given in one or either last year and or the year before that have yet to give this year, as a gentle reminder. We're planning to hand out checks 2 weeks from today. That'd be the 22nd, I think, of December. Maybe it'll be that Wednesday, the 23rd, but and we do get some money in after, and then we carry that over to the following year. But if you see people or whatever, just, keep the word out there. And as I said, I think we're going to probably send a reminder postcard to a group and see if we can kick this thing over the finish line. So.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, one other thing. I'd like to just remind everyone that the Hanukkah menorah lighting is Thursday, the first night of Hanukkah, this coming Thursday at 5:30. It'll be a little different format. It'll be masks, social distance, just the lighting, no refreshments. But just to remind you that we will have it then.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to Police Department report. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Hope everybody's doing well. Everybody should have received a copy of my monthly report. I will be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I just have one question, Greg. When I was driving on River Road, I noticed a new pole with a square on it right at the changeover from Hunting Valley. Is that related to Flock or something different?
Yes, that's correct. Hunting Valley did just have all of their cameras installed last week. So it's the first week for it. And they have, I want to say they have quite a few, actually. I think there's 25, scattered around Hunting Valley, mainly on quite a few. And we're hoping to have ours installed in the ground here soon. So but once we move forward, there's about a 30 to 45 day window for that. And we kind of piggyback off each other. In fact, if you probably haven't noticed it, I know the mayor's noticed it, at Cedar and Somme, there's 2 of them for each lane. And one is actually on the Pepper Pike side right there at the corner. And one is also right there at the corner of our side, just because of we needed it for solar. So we use each other's. So we'll complement each other very well. So, but yeah, they just had those installed this past week.
They're all up and down Somme Center and 87, hitting
That's
all the
great.
intersections.
Yeah,
We actually thought the one that I saw was in our part of it, but I guess it must be Hunting Valley.
It's location with the sun, I think,
Right.
more than anything.
Okay.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, we'll move on. Service Department, Dave.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. You should have
Yay,
received.
Service Department! Woo, woo, woo.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Well, we're not there yet. We
I know,
gotta
but
wait
you guys
for
are-
PO,
You guys
but,
are doing a heck of a job.
Thank you. I'll let the guys know. You should have received a copy of my monthly report. I'm happy to answer any questions. That concludes my report.
Okay.
Hey, but
Okay.
let me ask you, Dave, just this one question. Just throw it out there to anybody who's listening, whether
Yeah.
they be a council member or not. Is there anything we could do for the your service department guys? I passed them on River Road today and I counted heads and there was like 8 of them all working on cleaning debris. And I said, if I could do it, I would swing by Starbucks and get 8 quick cups of coffee and bring it back down to them because it was cold and it was blech, and they were on the road and they're dealing with the chipper and is there anything we could do to just kind of make their day? We know their next month is going to be tough, and is there anything we can do to just let them know that while they're out on the road, we're thinking about them and we appreciate it?
I think, what really seems to be helpful, noting it in a meeting as you have done, certainly I always pass things on, but even in email, if you want to send me, I copy it, I always pass it around to the guys, or a card, just saying, hey, I saw you guys, thanks, if you need something, any of that, they certainly do appreciate. There's no question about it.
They just look cold and tired today. And I just thought I should find a big old thermos and bring them all some coffee, but
Mary,
yeah.
piggybacking on that, if they're cold, maybe keep a box of hand warmers in your car and give them hand warmers.
Good idea.
Okay,
I'm not going to Browns games anymore, so I got a box of them.
there you go.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dave.
Okay, next is Fire Department, Tom.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. You should have received a copy of the fire department report for November. It was quite lengthy.
I think that's the biggest report I've ever seen.
Mhm.
It is a new record for the number of calls in a month.
Wow.
2 years ago, we broke the record, and now we've broken that record. Most of that is due to the storm. And I'll give you forewarning that December, we've already had 26 calls.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Wow.
December is going to be
Yeah.
a big piece of paper for you, maybe two-sided also. We did have in November, we had both the structure fire at 1580 Chagrin River Road. We had another fire that did very little damage to the structure of the home up on Timber Ridge in November, which was actually related to the power failure. And when they restored power to the home, it shorted out the power lines going into the house. So it filled the house, the basement with smoke, and did a lot of damage to the equipment in the house.
Wow.
And then We had another fire the other night, which will be in December's report. So we've been sort of busy lately.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
Gee whiz.
so,
Chief, I do.
Oops, I was going to say congratulations on 24 years.
Yes.
Happy
Yes.
anniversary.
Yeah, happy
Yeah.
anniversary, Tom.
keep on
So-
going.
Tom, I have a question because during that period of time where many of us did not have electricity and were depending on generators, do we have an opportunity to educate our residents about carbon monoxide alarms in their home? I know you've been a big proponent of smoke alarms, which is, as was proven last month, saved lives. But as I was thinking about how many people were using gas-powered or generators, I was thinking, gee, I hope they all realize that they need to pay as much attention in a scenario like this with carbon monoxide. Is this an opportunity to maybe put something in the pink sheet about having a carbon monoxide monitor near one's bedroom, especially as people go to bed at night, is a really, really important thing to do when we lose power?
That's a good point. We did have most of the people that have whole house generators don't have issues. Where we find issues is people using portable generators, running them in their garages. We did have an incident where someone with a whole house generator, there was a problem with the generator and it wasn't running correctly, and it did create carbon monoxide in the house.
Oh, boy.
So
Wow.
you could kind of look for January, well, actually, February, if you will, an article about that and how important carbon monoxide detectors are in the home.
Yeah. I mean, I just know that couple first days after that storm, I would be really interested to know how many homes were running on generators. Up and down my street, almost every single one of us has over the years put in something. So I have to think it's pretty widespread in the village that people have generators, but don't think about how important it is to either maintain them with a yearly check or to still have, just as a backup, a carbon monoxide alarm in their home, maybe near a bedroom. But I just thought this was a perfect opportunity because now everybody has the storm of 2 weeks ago still fresh in their mind.
Yeah, and we did change about a year ago. I changed the smoke detector program to include one carbon monoxide detector. So we're installing those in homes that don't have them already. So if we get called to do the smoke detectors, we do put one carbon monoxide detector in the house too.
Good. Okay. I just thought about it, hearing all those generators going all night long.
Oh my gosh, it was like a humming.
The
activity.
humming from hell, it just kept going.
Oh my gosh.
Do we know, Dave, is everybody back with power? I know some don't have cable, but is everybody back now? Betsy Juliana maybe is the only one that I know of.
Yeah, as far as I know, they are. I haven't gotten any other calls, which sometimes I get a surprise call. Hey, when's the power coming back on? It's like, I haven't received anything. So as far as I know, there is a lot of people having to restore, their meter box or mass. We're getting quite a few inspections and trying to get the permanent service reconnected for them. But as far as I know, everybody should have either permanent or temporary.
Okay, good. Okay, so moving on. Are you ready, Ann, for all this?
I'm ready. Is everyone ready for some year-end fun?
Yeah, Whitney show.
Okay.
Mayor,
What?
Mayor, I noticed Tom Wickert is in our meeting.
Okay. I see that now.
I don't know if we want to do the last ordinance first.
Okay.
We can do that.
That way he doesn't have to wait until the end. I didn't realize he was going to join us, but I'm glad to see him here because he can help explain where we are.
All right, we'll do that.
Okay.
Tom, maybe you want to unmute, and we're going to go to 23, which is ordinance number 2020-55. And second page.
I'd like to introduce ordinance 2020-55, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Weichert Insurance Services, Inc. to furnish and provide liability and property insurance coverages for the Village of Gates Mills, its officials and employees in declaring an emergency.
Tom, would you like to say something on that, or Janet? I'm not sure. Now we've got you there. Welcome.
You're muted, Tom.
Tom,
Can't see you or hear you, I mean. Nope.
He's actually unmuted. I think the computer speaker is not picking him up.
oh,
No.
oh, we can't hear him.
Let's try this.
There we go.
There we go.
Now unmute him. Now your speaker.
Whatever it is, we can hear him. Don't worry about the.
Okay, there we go. How's that?
Yes, good.
That's good.
Well, thank you so much. I was a councilman for 16 years, and I never. Well, that's very nice for you. Let me go ahead. I don't mind listening to the ordinances and all that kind of stuff. So.
Oh, yes, you do.
You're just being way too nice.
Well, Janet, I'll let you. I spoke with Janet earlier today, and we were really kind of the proposal that we have to her this evening is not totally complete. This I put a lengthy letter in there for any of you that really want to. I know you have had a chance to read it. Talking about COVID and all the kind of things going on, and we expect to have a little bit better renewal for the village than we do. What we do have there is actually a potential flat renewal, which is really good. But we had a little issues with the renewal based on the most recent employment practices case that was settled. We did get a conditional non-renewal from our public officials carrier. Their renewal was not quite satisfactory. We've asked Selective, your package carrier, to come through with that. And again, we're doing business like you all doing business right now. And I'm not going to make excuses for anybody, but I couldn't go up the ladder high enough or far enough today to get this thing done. I promised Janet we'd have it done yesterday, and it's not entirely done. What you do have in there is a proposal that does have an alternative with Travelers Insurance Company, which is one of the carriers that handles part of your program. But we really would like to fill this out with Selective doing the whole thing and do that. The renewal is not to the end of the month. So knowing that you meet only today, Janet wanted this for you today, and I guess I'll just turn it back over to her.
Yeah, I mean, I just, as long as Tom was in the meeting, it's better if he explains where we're at and what we're waiting on. You know, we filled out a lot of applications to get the other quotes this go around. Unfortunately, with that one case and it being settled, it's kind of lingering out there, making it a little more difficult for us to get what we want when we want it. Tom's been going to bat explaining the situation as best as he can. So I'm just not sure that, you know, we have a decision to make tonight, even though I put the ordinance in the packet. I'm not sure that Todd had an idea that we could just put a maximum in there into the ordinance that would be, I'm not sure if, you know, you have the two quotes in what you sent us, Tom, or what you sent me, but I'm not sure that those were numbers I wanted to put out there yet because we weren't sure if those were, you know, the end numbers.
The proposal that I have for you there does have a total top to bottom travelers option, of which, again, we're a very large travelers aid. We do, first of all, for those of you that don't know us or don't know me, we've been working with the village for about 30 years now, and we will insure over half the cities in Cuyahoga County. We use travelers in quite a few situations. Maybe on the record or off the record, Travelers is one of the hardest carriers to do renewals with once you get them online, meaning they are always trying to raise rates, and it's a struggle. Janet knows with Selective here now, what, I guess probably the last, well, even before you came with the village, and of course, even before when you were up at Wade Hill, we had Selective. Selective is probably my most prominent carrier, and they've maintained a very level rate structure, even though we've had y'all have had in the last, what, 5 years or so, some uninsured motorist claims, some different total losses and all that kind of thing, unfortunate things. Selective has just held the line there. And quite frankly, their renewal there is pretty much a level holding the line. The irony is Travelers comes in there and slashes the rate on that part of the program and charges significantly more for the law enforcement and public officials. Now, we think law enforcement is going to be the problem with the next 4 or 5 years. We've already had some just incredibly difficult, or I guess you'd say, settlements here in this most recent year of COVID when we don't have courts available. Todd can talk about some of that kind of stuff. It's been, we've had some real difficult situations, yet the renewal there, even from Hudson, was not all that bad for the law enforcement. So I'd like to come back in the next day or so, hopefully, Janet, and deliver a renewal that keeps us with Selective in that price range. I mean, I don't, you can see that the renewal is around, the Travelers number is around expiring. And the Selective might be a tad higher. I don't know. I don't have any problem waiting to your next council meeting. I mean, we have to bind this on the 31st. I know technically that's probably not the right thing for you to do, but obviously you've been with us for a lot of years. We don't mind doing that type of thing. But I would hope by the end of the week to have this resolved.
Todd, so what we would do is do another Zoom just for the insurance?
That would be what I would suggest, I guess. At this point, I thought I offered the option to council to throw out the highest premium number that was in the quote that Tom gave us, but
okay.
Changed. And I thought, you could authorize up to that amount, and then Mary, you and Janet could then lock in something less than that. So I thought that would handle it without having to go into your January council meeting or having a special meeting.
Okay, so do we have that figure?
Well, that number that's in there, yes, but I mean, by no means will it go that high. So, but yes, if that's the way you'd want to approach it, that would be great.
Yes, there's 3 options open to council this evening, and that would be to go ahead with the highest premium number, which now Tom says is extremely high, and it'll be lower than that, or have a special meeting in the next couple of weeks by Zoom, or I guess Tom is saying that he can bind this by the end of the year, and then you can formally approve it in January.
I don't have that proposal right up on my screen, Janet, but I mean, the $90,000 proposal there, the 90-something thousand, again, we would highly recommend that we would go fully with the Travelers before we would do that. So, so the point is, it's going to certainly be well below that number, but if you want to use that number for the sake of what Todd's saying, I'm suspecting it might be towards 80,000. And that's the number I was trying to get Selective to, slightly in that neighborhood there. But I think you know us well enough. We always try to beat this thing down as much as we can.
May I ask 2 questions quickly?
Yes.
Absolutely.
One of them is that our current Selective does not show a deductible for the umbrella. Is that something that is not an option? Or is it something that we could maybe consider a deductible to lower the cost?
The umbrella is the liability limit, the 10 million that is above the auto, the general liability, the all the other underlying coverages. So it attaches immediately afterwards. There is a reference in there on the Travelers, I think, for a 10,000 retention. And that only means for something that is not covered by the umbrella, which is highly unlikely to happen. So it's really not a deductible in that sense.
Got it.
Again, I'm on my laptop here, so I don't have that actual proposal in front of me. The deductibles, if Denise put them in there, she may not have of this one, Janet, but we are offering more deductibles with Selective. Ironically, Selective over the years has not offered as much savings on the auto physical damage deductibles as you'd think. But I don't think she did that on this proposal because I was just trying to get this out to you today.
Right.
And we will look at all those deductibles and as it relates to auto physical damage and things of that nature. The liability coverages are all generally on a first dollar basis. Your public officials had been a $10,000 deductible, and you can see even that renewal from Hudson, which there's no way we're going to go with that, was at a $25,000 deductible. So we'll go back to that $10,000 deductible, whether it's with Selective or possibly, I even suggest in the letter there, the cover letter, that we might even go to a few other carriers. I expected to have that all wrapped up today, and again, I apologize for that. I'm not apologizing, somebody else. Again, it's just people are hard to get a hold of these days.
Well, I'm glad you joined us, though. I mean, that helps me a lot.
That was real helpful.
Well, and I called you today because, again, I left you, I mean, we promised you we have it yesterday and you'd have it in your council packet, and everybody would have read the cover letter and all that. I'm just
If anybody's interested, I have the proposal pulled up. I guess, not to shock anybody, but Selective is $97,822, and Travelers is $74,009 or $498. So there's about a $23,000 difference there in annual premium, and some of those deductibles are there and some are not. So,
Todd, hold on a second. That number is still using the old Hudson law and public officials with Selective, okay? So,
okay.
Yeah, and it's a little hard to, again, I didn't want to confuse you, and I actually didn't put very many options, but yeah, that is, we would never go that direction, but that's just the way it came out on the spreadsheet there.
Okay.
We actually expected Hudson to not be quite that punitive on the pricing. I think you've discussed the case with Rich in my office and all that. We don't want to spend too much time talking about the case. I'm not real happy with the way Hudson handled this pricing on the renewal. And so that's, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We would never put that combination. We need to replace the Hudson with the rest of it all being talked about and with Selective. And that's where I'm thinking would be in the 80,000 range.
Would council be comfortable if we amended this ordinance to cover us? Does it make sense? Up to
80,000?
Not to exceed 90,000?
That would be fine also, yes.
How does that compare to the rate we were paying in previous years?
I think Janie sent you, Janet, the spreadsheet there. It was around 76,000 was the expiring, I think. And so in so-called, if we went to Travelers, it would be the same bottom line, but getting there significantly different ways. So we're at a relatively, the renewal should come through relatively flat.
Last year annualized was 75,706.
Yeah. So I said 76,000. I'm doing that off I looked at this so much, I'm doing it off my head. I don't have it on my laptop here. I haven't quite figured out how to get all this stuff up on the laptop with all your pictures. So.
Can I ask a quick clarifying question? When was Exhibit A sent out, and how was it sent out?
It was not. I just got that today. That's why I just got it at 4:30.
That's why we're having the conversation.
Right.
Okay, so I'm being asked to approve a 2-paragraph with a number without seeing any detail. Is that what you're asking, Ann, if we're willing to do that?
yes.
Up to a number.
Up to a maximum.
Is it beneficial to see Exhibit A, whatever it's eventually going to look like, whenever it can be put together? I'm a little confused here, I guess.
I think it comes down to if we want to go through trying to put together a special meeting where 5 of us can vote because we'll need to suspend, or if we're willing to do a binder. I personally would rather that we put a number on it and do our due diligence as we progress.
I agree with that. I think that it's difficult to get people together at the holidays, even though people aren't having social gatherings, they're busy. So I think that we trust Anne and Janet and the mayor to work with Tom to make sure that we get the best possible result. And I
Well,
think a not to exceed number makes some sense.
Well, then
Except I'm
Nancy, with that in mind, Nancy, why not just take advantage of the offer that was given to us and wait until January when we'll have all of the numbers represented and we vote on it in January? Is
Well,
there any
that's
downside?
fine, except that we're leaving Tom on the hook for the binder, which, in case we don't do it, I think that if we're having a problem in
I would
January, I don't want to
suggest
put him out there.
we go with the not to exceed. I mean, they've done good for us for over 30 years. And when I used to chair the insurance, I can tell you that it went down every year. It was the best committee to be on. Thank you, Tom.
That's
Okay.
why the letter talking about all the COVID stuff and all the things going on in the business and.
Okay.
They come through with, what they say they're going to do from past
I'm a little
experience.
confused though. Last year's number, I mean, the 2020 expense was X. And what maximum are we approving for 2021? Because I'm hearing flat, but I'm not hearing that when I hear the
No,
number.
you're hearing the maximum is plus 14,000.
Why am I approving plus 14,000? That's what I'm confused about.
Because that's what we're trying to come up with, a number that,
I guess
I
what
don't feel like
number are
approving
you
plus
comfortable with,
14,000. I'm
Tom?
sorry. I don't feel like approving
And
plus
I don't think,
14,000.
I don't think. you
we
need
can
to be
vote on it
that
and
much. Yeah,
see how it comes out.
yeah, I don't.
Tom, what are you comfortable? What if we said 85,000 or 80,000? Last year it was 76,000.
The 85 would be the more realistic number if we come back with, the whole issue with the travelers, and Janie put it in another side note to Janet. Janie's my daughter who, and four of us were working on this today. We've taken travelers in on a number of these situations, including Moreland Hills. And then the next year, boom, they want 10% increase and we have to fight and argue and all that kind of stuff. So travelers they're the largest writer of public entities on a national basis. And it's surprising. The number they came up with is a little concerning in the sense that it's really high on the public officials' liability. It's really high on the law enforcement. I don't want to go that route. I'd rather go with a keep you with selective, and I just don't have their pricing in. We didn't expect a Hudson price to be as high as it is. 85 is, yes, absolutely. I mean, I would never recommend we go with options more than 85 before we'd go back to travelers.
Okay, so not to exceed 85,000, and it was 76,000 last year.
Yes.
Right. And Travelers is just under, it's like 74.5.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
but so,
personally, I have no problem with scheduling another meeting, like a Zoom meeting, when we have more information, or waiting until January. Because to me, that sounds very open-ended, and I'm not really comfortable with approving something like this where we really don't know exactly what we're getting. And
I
know
agree with
Tom's-
Larry.
Tom's
Yeah.
going to do his best to do it right, but I would kind of like to see it, and then I'll make myself available.
I don't think it's hard to schedule another Zoom meeting with everybody's flexibility. It'd be a 5 or 10 minute meeting. I think it'd be worth it to have the information in front
I'm
of
good with that.
It just won't be next week because I'm out of the office.
Could be
right.
okay.
It can be it can be after Christmas for that matter. There's another week there. And we don't need all the department heads and whatnot, so it can be
Absolutely, right.
just the voting council.
I think I would lend my support to Larry and to Chip to just say, if we've got these couple of weeks, a 10-minute Zoom meeting, we can find a way. I think Ed's on Zoom tonight in a car, so I think we can figure out.
He's moved to an office.
Okay. My point is,
hope that's not his
that.
car.
We'll get
We can
something
get- we can get-
scheduled. Let's move on.
we can
Tom,
get a
thank you
quorum.
very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
So Todd, am I not going to introduce to
I think-
2020?
Oh, it-
55?
Table it,
No.
I think.
Now
It's
we're gonna
tabled.
we're gonna go backwards, and we're gonna go to ordinance number 2020-43 back at the beginning.
Okay. Got
Well,
it.
thank you for doing that, Mayor.
Okay.
That's good. I mean, that was good clarification. I would like to introduce ordinance 2020-43, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Aetna Healthcare to furnish and provide hospitalization and healthcare coverage for village employees and declaring an emergency. Am I doing the right ordinance?
Yes.
Okay. A little history before we vote. The insurance committee met. The original quote from Aetna was about 3% higher than last year's. And Janice, our agent, has really gone to bat for us and provided the figures and spreadsheet to compare Aetna to United Healthcare, Anthem, Medical Mutual, and different packages, different plans. The some of the increases were non-network deductibles were almost double for individuals as well as families. So although, you know, the 3%, things do change within the plan. It's not the exact same plan. So the deductibles, I think, go into another ordinance where we will be helping, you know, hopefully employees with their out-of-pocket expenses. The network on this Aetna plan, I did do a fair amount of research and I thought it was a great network. It had anybody that I would like to go see. It was covered within the network. So that was a good. And if we renewed with Aetna, there was an incentive credit. So Janice went to bat for us even more and got the renewal without the 3% increase. The insurance company felt that we should continue with Aetna. That there was no reason to shake it up.
Good for you.
So,
Well, and the credit was 50% of our premiums, which will be shown on our January bill.
Nice.
$13,000 savings
Excellent,
Great.
nice.
yeah.
50% of your monthly premium, correct?
of 1 month. Mhm.
Good.
So I would move to suspend the rules for ordinance 2020-43.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ann Whitney, seconded by Sandra.
Aye.
Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes,
Turner,
Yes,
Welsh,
Yes. Whitney.
Yes, and I move to adopt ordinance 2020-43.
Second.
Second that.
motion made by Ann, seconded by Welsh. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
yes,
Turner,
yes,
Welsh,
yes.
Yeah.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, next is ordinance 2020-44. Ann?
Ordinance 2020-44 is an ordinance authorizing a contract with Delta Dental to provide dental insurance coverage for village employees and declaring an emergency. And this also, am I right, Janet, came back without an increase?
It was without an increase, and just this afternoon, I got an email from Janice, and they've come down just slightly on their rates for us. So they did a one-time rate reduction.
Wow.
This
Not
is-
talking a lot, but it's, you know, for a family, it's maybe $2 a month less. But they did come down, and it was comparable, if you remember, to, she did quote other plans, and it was very comparable in price to the other plans she had quotes for.
I'll second.
I'm moving to suspend.
Oh, second.
Okay, motion by Whitney, seconded by Welsh. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
yes,
Turner,
Yes,
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes, and I move to adopt ordinance 2020-44.
Second.
Who was second?
I was.
Okay. Well, we'll give it to Chip.
I got
Allworder.
It's kind of like when the gates open up at the Kentucky Derby and all the horses come out in exactly the same.
That's all. I'll defer to others going forward.
Okay. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, next is ordinance number 2020-45. Ann,
Ordinance 2020-45 is an ordinance declaring the village's intention to enter into a health reimbursement account for 2021 and declaring an emergency. And I think you all read it helps with the out-of-pocket medical expenses. And we have done this previously. I moved to suspend.
I'll second.
Motion made by Whitney, seconded by Larry.
Thank you.
Yay!
Yay, Larry.
Allward,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes, and I move to adopt ordinance 2020-45.
Second.
Motion by Whitney, seconded by Welsh. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
okay, next is resolution 20-20-46. Ann,
Resolution 2020-46 is a resolution requesting the county auditor to advance taxes from the proceeds of tax levies pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 321.34. And this is asking the county to pay us funds that are earmarked for us. So I move to suspend.
I'll second.
A motion by Whitney, seconded by Reynolds. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes, I move to adopt resolution 2020-46.
I'll second.
Motion by Whitney, seconded by Reynolds. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Don't fade on us here, Beth. You got to hang in there.
Hey, wait, I just got to tell you one thing. It used to be a screen 3x3 and I could only see 9 of you at once. Tonight, for the first time, it's 4x4. There's 16 of you and it's like, wow.
Right?
okay, next is ordinance 2020-47. Ann,
Ordinance 2020-47 is an ordinance to increase the compensation of certain village employees and declaring an emergency. And Tim or anyone, please pipe in when you would like to. The Wage and Benefit Committee met and had good information. Thank you to Janet on history and what comparable communities are doing. And this ordinance is reflects a raise of 2% for all employees. And section 12, which is a section about pay incentives, each section in that was increased about $2,000. And I did have a question for Todd about the wording on that section 12.
You did, and he agreed with.
you're muted.
All right.
You're good now.
In section 12, we have effective December 13th, 2006.
Oh.
To effective December 27th, 2020, so that the new rates are reflected.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I would like to, any questions?
I have a question. I see that we are paying temporary part-time help between $10 and $24 an hour. I'm kind of curious why we would pay anyone $10 an hour. That seems very low.
We don't even have anybody in that category.
I don't think it reflects well on us to pay someone $10 an hour.
Well, we don't.
What's my
at the
thought?
moment. So what I guess,
That's
what
just
I'd
a
say is
range.
just we don't at the moment.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think we
And-
should
and-
consider
and
for
I
next
can't-
year making it different.
I don't disagree, but I could imagine, for example, a high school summer student who's doing part-time work in some way where that would be a fair thing to be able to, but I don't disagree with you that particularly for our skilled employees, that would be a ridiculous rate. And we don't pay anybody at the moment that rate.
But
I just asked the question. I think
Yep.
we should think about it for next year.
Nancy, I
Okay.
think that's a well taken because it's not even minimum wage and shame on
Right.
us. Okay?
Right.
I agree.
Yes,
At
it
least
is.
make-
It's
Yeah,
It's
minimum.
above minimum
It
wage.
exceeds-
The state minimum
it
wage is
minimum
below that.
wage. It is, yeah.
Yeah, it
State
is
minimum
actually.
wage is around $8.
That's
I
correct.
just brought it up because I don't think it is.
I don't, Nancy, I don't disagree with you at all. All
I
I'm
think
saying
we
is
should,
I can envision a special situation with a very, like an intern,
I
where that
didn't
might be
say-
appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can
Well, think of it
definitely,
for next
I'll
year.
remember that next year, Nancy.
Thank you, Janet.
So
Anything else from anybody?
Anne, I think you have to ask for it amended because the date on section 12 has changed. So I think you do have to say you'd like approval as amended.
Okay, I'd like to suspend the rules for the amended ordinance 2020-47.
Second,
Second.
Motion by Whitney, seconded by Turner, Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yeah.
Turner,
yes,
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes. And I move to adopt the amended 2020-47.
Second.
Motion by Whitney, seconded by Sog, Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ann. You get to rest from that.
I was gonna say, have a drink of water, Anne. You're up again soon.
Okay,
You did such
next
a great job, though.
ordinance 2020-48. Larry.
Okay, so this is came out of our long-range planning. And we just had some discussion about increasing the fines and making them a bit more current to what other communities were doing. So this ordinance is amending the section 19.04 of the codified ordinances of the Village of Gates Mills, setting forth a schedule of fines and administrative costs for waivable offenses for the village's Violations Bureau. And I'd like a motion to suspend so that we can put this into effect immediately.
Second.
Now, isn't it been amended?
Well, it has been revised since it's never been introduced till now. It doesn't need to be amended.
I see. Okay.
So
The
it'll be a revised copy though.
The police chief did ask today that I bump up the seatbelt child restraints by $5 each. So that's the only difference, an additional $5 for those offenses.
You know, I had a question. Under the moving violations, nobody ever goes more than 29 miles over the limit?
They do. In a situation like that, that would require a mandatory court appearance, and the citation would be reckless operation, which we can't cover
Correct.
through our mayor's court.
Okay. Okay, good.
And just so everybody's clear, the short version with this is, it's a across the board $5 administrative fee for all of our citations, no matter what they are. And we're revising the speeding citations. So between 1 and 19 over the posted speed limit, it's a $15 across the board increase. And for somebody driving between 20 and 29 miles over, that would not require a court appearance, would be a $20 increase, which would equal like a traffic accident, non-injury traffic accident. And what we see is 90% of our citations are speed related, so we wanted to, try to streamline it and simplify everything as much as we could. So that's why we only focused on the speeding violations.
Chief, I have a quick question. I know a lot of thought has been put into this by you and your crew, but I kind of feel like $5 across the board is barely worth your time and our time. Why aren't we bringing some of these up by $25?
Well, the $5 across the board is the administrative fee. Just for comparison's sake, and I'm not trying to compare us to others, but it would be $56 for the clerks to go ahead and enter the citation. That's the administrative fee. Lyndhurst Court is about $101, and certainly, there's a difference with the overhead and what's required on their end compared to ours.
But just to point out, you did increase, apart from the administrative fees, you did increase the fines.
Correct.
More than, it's not just the $5. So
No,
Right.
no, it's not. Correct.
Okay.
And we want them to pay us as opposed to paying through Lyndhurst.
Right. Okay.
So we have a motion to
Motion to
suspend and a
suspend.
second.
Who made the second?
I don't think
I
we
did.
a second,
I did,
we?
or anybody did, doesn't matter.
Right.
Okay, second made by Nancy Sog. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes,
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
All right, well, I want to go back to Mary's point about the $5 increase. I don't understand. You said that it's more than just the administrative cost, but I don't understand that because it's only $5. I mean, is there
So-
someplace else where the fines have been increased? I
Yeah,
mean,
so
in some other
I would
form?
say 10% on, without researching it. About 10% of our citations that are paid through the mayor's court are citations other than speeding. We don't see that many of those.
Right.
So that's how come the $5 increase isn't going to amount to a whole lot. We don't see that many citations there. So when we do, really a $5 increase.
Okay.
With 90% of our citations, the increase is going to be either $15 or $20,
Oh,
which would focus on the speeding
Is that,
citation. So it's really more than
those are the speeding ones.
correct.
Right.
The up to 29 and over.
all right. I got you. Okay. Okay. All right. Because that's fine. And I'll defer to you that you've kind of done the research on this, but I agree with Mary's point that it's such a small increase, but
But we're still under what Lyndhurst charges, so that's the encouragement to
Correct.
pay us.
There's the incentive package to pay Gates Mills instead of going to pay it.
Right, which costs more.
We
Costs
we
more.
may only have, again, this is just off the cuff here. We may only have, say, 60 citations a year, certainly under 100, where you're only going to see a $5 increase. You're going to have 600 citations where there's going to be an increase of either $15 or $20 across the board.
okay.
I think the other point is, I believe that, Greg, didn't we look at other communities and we wanted to stay about level where other communities were with our fines?
Yes, that's correct. I mean, depending on what community you're referring to, and, all the communities really, when they look at increasing their fines, they look at who they're using for the municipal court. And then that's their baseline. So like our neighbors to the south, they all use Bedford Court. So Bedford Court is going to have a different fee structure than our municipal court, which is Lyndhurst. So, that's how come we focus on Lyndhurst Court, and the other communities who are, unlike ours for the most part, use Lyndhurst Court. And we fall in line with Lyndhurst Court, whereas our neighbors to the south, once again, just about everybody over there uses Bedford Court. So, that's who they're going to go ahead and look to when they make changes. But we're pretty competitive with, say, Orange Village, who we model our mayor's court after. Without having the information in front of me, I want to say our processing fees are even at $56 or $61 now, would be higher than what they're at right now.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.
Okay, Larry, back to you.
Back to me. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 2020-48, increasing the fees for waivable offenses for the village violations.
Second,
Motion by Frankel, seconded by Allworder. Allworder,
yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, next is Resolution 2020-49. Ann,
I'd like to introduce Resolution 2020-49, a resolution adopting the income tax rules and regulations of the Regional Income Tax Agency. And I am extremely happy that Todd knows what these all say. So, I move, this is housekeeping so that we can use Rita. I move that we suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion made by Whitney, seconded by Sog. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes, and I move to adopt Resolution 2020-49.
I have a question.
Okay.
Todd, does the RETA language, how does it cover taxing SERPs? Or has that now been overridden by the state, so it's a moot point?
That's a good question, and I don't know what their regulations say. They certainly have to go by our income tax. So it's still taxable as I understand it, so.
Yeah, it is. The governing law here is our law, not Rita's regulations.
Right. These are the regulations for collections and filings and things like that. They are consistent with our ordinances.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Whitney, seconded by Sog. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
okay, next is Resolution 2020-50. Larry,
Yeah. So you may recall last month or in last meeting, we set up the safety fund for the Village of Gates Mills. And this resolution authorizes the mayor to accept an anonymous monetary donation to the safety fund of the Village of Gates Mills. And I'd like to suspend so that we can accept that donation.
Larry, quick question for the donor. I'm assuming that's a tax deductible donation.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
the village is a not-for-profit.
Correct.
yes,
Do we send them some kind of receipt for their tax records so that they can
yes,
include it in their
Yeah.
tax? Okay, just curious. So it's all set up that something like that is a charitable deduction because the village in
Yes.
this particular case is a not-for-profit. Okay, thank you.
It might also be nice to anonymously thank the person in the fig sheet and maybe encourage other people to do the same.
Right. But that was part of the reason for my question is to make sure that people understood that their contribution would be a tax deductible gift.
Yes. Thank you.
If I can
Do
just
we
add
have-
some, can I just add something real quick?
Mhm.
The mayor and I have met with this person and he's very charitable and he in this with the initial funds that we're talking about, he certainly wanted to see it to be used toward the camera system. He was very impressed by that. However, he has indicated to us that he's certainly willing to support other areas as well.
Wow. Wow, that's great.
Good.
which is
Well,
why
we've
we have
narrowed-
it as a safety fund.
We've now narrowed it down to half the residents in the village is anonymous. Since we know it's a he, so.
Use that as a generic term. And then
Okay,
first-
so
So do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay, motion by Frankel, seconded by Reynolds. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, so that was to suspend. Now I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution 2020-50, authorizing the mayor to accept the anonymous monetary donation to the safety fund of the Village of Gates Mills.
I'll
Second.
second.
Motion by Frankel, seconded by Reynolds. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
I've got a quick question for the treasurer. Is this going to end up being a line item on our financial statement that we're going to be able to see how much money is put into this account and whether it grows or shrinks or? I mean, are we gonna be able
It will, that's really, I will defer a bit to Janet, who will put it in line items, but it will end up not in the general fund, but into the appropriate restricted fund.
Right.
And what happens if that fund goes to zero? Do we just keep encouraging people, either families who are long lived in the village or as they pass, to contribute to this? But what if we drain that fund? What is our program to keep it growing or at least keep it stable?
So what I would say is this, is that the village has established already a whole set of funds for various purposes. There's capital improvement fund, there's a number of funds that you see in the financial statements that Janet sends out every month. And we will, from the general fund, allocate money to those funds to meet necessary and appropriate expenditures for each fund. So presumably this money will go into the safety fund, but other monies go into the safety fund as well. And so your question really is, within the safety fund, will we maintain a line item for, so we can watch this gift get spent?
And how do we publicize that this fund now exists so that other families who feel the same way may choose to contribute?
Well, this is not a charitable contribution fund. This is not like a foundation. So this is going into our normal course of business accounts. But if we want to, and I think it's a wonderful idea to begin to establish an effort to encourage people to give to the village for appropriate reasons. We can do that quite separately and still account for it within our normal structure. So I wouldn't use the financial account structure as an impediment to a marketing campaign to get people to give to the village. I guess that's what I'm saying. We can account for it.
Good point.
Janet, do you want to add?
Things as well.
Let me interject that we have 2 or 3 other people the chief and I have been talking to that also want to make donations. So we will start promoting it. And the pink sheet will be one place that we can talk about it. And also the state of the village, we can talk about it, that if people are inclined to want to make a donation to the village, that we will, put it into the safety fund, which supports our, it can be anything department that has something that they're going to buy or want to get that is supportive of safety. And so it benefits the residents.
Right. I'm just really interested in making sure that we get that message out, because I have to think that there are many families that, if not today or next year, potentially would like to support that fund.
It's the same kind of thing I did with the park and with the community house.
Deal.
I'd like to address that for Mary, because it's a great point. And one of the things that one of the people in the community had recommended for our long-range planning committee was that we model a fund somewhat like what Hunting Valley has, where they actually go out and market to the residents that we have this charitable fund. You can earmark it for special projects you want. It is tax deductible, and it makes it very easy for people to donate to the village. And it is tax deductible, and you can, if there's a special interest, you can earmark it for that.
Thus
so
far,
what I
we've
would
done
say
it
would-
for special projects, which is the park and the community house and now the safety fund.
But I think
So
By the way,
I
that
would-
is
I
the
wanna-
Improvement Society.
There we go. That's what I was going to say too. So the president of the Improvement Society didn't have to say so. The we have multiple ways that people can provide money to improve the village. The Improvement Society absolutely is one. Giving to the village directly, which is also tax deductible for specified amounts, is also a way to go. And so I think that although we don't have what a charitable organization would have a development officer, and we don't have a development officer who is out working with individuals to include charitable contributions in their estate or do other kinds of gifts. We have multiple ways and it would be great to promote those multiple ways to the village, and depending on each individual's particular interests, the Improvement Society is a great way to do it, and the way that this particular individual did it is also a great way to do it. And it's we can be quite flexible the way we're set up right now. My personal view, and we can, it's worth a conversation, but my personal view is that setting up a foundation probably isn't necessary, isn't additive to what we already have.
Correct.
And in many ways, I think that the Improvement Society serves that foundation kind of need really well.
Okay. I just want to know people have that option if something like safety was close to their hearts as far as being able to make a contribution, that they know, if they send a check to the Improvement Society, I don't think the Improvement Society, for all the wonderful things they do, have ever used the banner of safety as their,
Well, they could.
Well, no,
Could
but
do,
they have it in the
but they
past. So
haven't, yeah.
they have it in the past. So all I'm saying is if this is a particular area that citizens are feeling compelled to want to help, I think they should know that now such a fund does exist.
Sure.
And we will start promoting it.
Right.
I think that all these kinds of interests, as long as the village wants to proceed with the activity that the donor wants to give the money to, is an important consideration. I mean, we can't just have everyone saying, I want to do X, and I want to give this money if it's not something the village wants to do or continue to support. I mean, sometimes infrastructure gets put in that the village then has to take care of, such as the
Right.
park.
Right,
Where
right.
we now have a
Any
fund
big
to
charitable
take care
gift
of.
involves a negotiation,
Right.
both in terms of
So I
amount and
just
use.
think it's an ongoing interest. And I do think the Improvement Society might think about more of a marketing campaign that relates to what the Improvement Society really is and does, because I think that is very confusing to some of
Thank
our.
you. Right. Couldn't agree with you more.
We've been working.
So there.
Yeah, it's true.
We've got a photothon going on in the background. Who's taking care of that call? we've got a donation coming in right now.
Okay, I'm getting hungry. Let's go on here.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
move.
Resolution,
The meeting.
resolution 2020-51, Nancy.
Okay, this is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum. It's 2020-51, a memorandum of understanding with the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District and the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District for the provision of technical assistance in implementing soil and water conservation measures and declaring an emergency. So basically, the sewer district is going to provide support services. And by reimbursing the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District activities that we pay for, up to $6,000. So it seems pretty simplistic.
Okay.
So I'd like to move to suspend the rules.
Second,
Motion by Sog, second by Allworder. Allworder,
yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
And I'd like to move the approval of ordinance 2020-51.
I had one question, Nancy. Is this something that they work with the service department, or like who do they work with for there's
This is related to our stormwater permit we hold. There's certain requirements, benchmarks we have to meet, like public education. So they work with me, Chris, typically do it, handle it.
Yeah,
and
Schooner
again,
the
this is
Watershed
something we do every
Partners,
year.
it's, yeah, we've got our, the 6 minimum control measures. They work with us on the first 2, which is public involvement, public education. And then they also interface on some of the work that we have to do regarding illicit discharge detection and elimination, and some of the stormwater inspection
Not my
work as
dog.
well.
Who had been doing this previously?
They have, and we have a similar contract with the Board of Health. We do this every year. They've been doing it.
Yep. The change in the last couple of years is
housekeeping.
now the regional sewer district is either paying or reimbursing for this, whereas before it was our cost.
Okay.
It seems pretty simple.
Yeah, I just want to know what it was.
Is this,
Is
Chris, I'm really liking that Stephen Hawkins thing you got going on behind you there. That's really cool.
Is this going to promote sewers or just support?
No,
No.
this is stormwater. This is not
Stormwater.
sewers. This is stormwater management, the permit we hold.
Okay, thanks.
Phase 2 stormwater compliance.
Could we get a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
That was Chip?
It was
No,
Larry.
Larry.
Oh, Larry, okay. Motion by Sog, seconded by Frankel. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, next is ordinance 2020-52. Ann.
I'd like to introduce ordinance 2020-52, an ordinance to amend the annual appropriation ordinance number 2020-2 to increase certain appropriations and other expenditures of the Village of Gates Mills, Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020. And yeah, I'd move to suspend.
Second.
Second.
Question? Section 6, Janet, increasing the capital improvement fund by 570,000. We didn't approve much for that back in January, or rather large increase. I guess I'm confused.
We have to account for the county's portion of Cedar Road. So all the work that they did, we have to put that amount of income in our income and that amount of expense in our expenses for Cedar Road that the county paid.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
So it's cash neutral.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, motion by Whitney, seconded by Welsh. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes. I move to adopt ordinance 2020-52.
Second.
Motion by Whitney, seconded by Turner. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, next is Resolution 2020-53. Ann.
This is a resolution authorizing and directing the transfer of certain sums from the general fund to the police pension fund. And I move to suspend the rules for resolution 2020-53.
Second.
Motion by
I-
Whitney, seconded
I-
by Allworder.
I have a question. How does this, is this in addition,
Take my dog out.
is this in addition to section two of the previous resolution?
Section 2 of the previous resolution is appropriating from the general fund to the police pension fund, but the
Yeah,
one actually allows the transfer.
got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion by Whitney, seconded by, I forget,
Allworder.
Yeah,
Allworder. Okay, Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes, I move to adopt resolution 2020-53.
Oh, my God.
Motion by Whitney, seconded by Welsh, Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes,
Okay, Whitney, get the last one done.
I am
Next.
ready.
Next ordinance 20-2054. Ann.
This is an ordinance providing temporary appropriations for expenditures for the village of Gates Mills, Ohio for the first 3 months of the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021, repealing certain ordinances and declaring an emergency. And I move that we suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion by Whitney, seconded by Sog, Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes, and I move that we adopt ordinance 2020-54.
Second.
Motion by Whitney, seconded by Allworder.
It was a
Allworder,
tie.
Yes.
I think.
It was a,
Frankel,
Come on, you two.
called it a photo
Don't make it
finish.
take all night to second a motion.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to have a Zoom meeting on 2020-55 after Christmas. We'll try to go for that last week at some point. So we'll let you know on that. Is there business from the audience, Tom?
They all left.
No, they're still here.
I'm kidding.
We did have a total of 9 watching and there are no questions.
I do have a
Thank
question
you all
for
for
Todd.
coming.
Nice to see you, Aaron. Do you have a question?
I do have a question. Hi, thank you, Mayor. Do I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we have had many power outages over the, last month and over the years. So I live on Chartley, just down the street from the mayor, and a few of my other neighbors are also watching and listening. So we're just wondering, as a community, what we can do to improve. Is there a way we can approach First Energy, Spectrum? What can we do to improve this?
Well,
We've already brought this up.
yeah, we brought this up at the beginning before we were
Beginning of the
online.
meeting.
And yes, we'd like to have a meeting with First Energy. And I actually spoke with our community rep and asked if we could go over some things that maybe could help us. We could help ourselves, something. And so we are going to try to look into that. And as far as Spectrum, Mr. Reynolds has volunteered to try to get us another source, which would help us, I think, get something more out of Spectrum. I don't know how else to say it.
I just want to say in fairness, I think a week ago Monday night storm was an extraordinary event. It was a lot of very heavy wet snow. And as we all know, there was a huge number of limbs down and over power lines and all.
And broken poles.
And broken poles. And so the issue is how do you deliver power and cable and internet to homes? And the ideal situation would be to bury all the lines, but that's an enormous investment. And it's unlikely that certainly our power company would be very resistant to that.
Yeah, also, if I can add one thing on that, Tim, is a lot of times the cost of burying the main lines is less than 50% of the cost. You've got all the cost of burying then all the lines between the main and the houses, which is a lot of time falls on the residents' back, and many of them will push back on that cost.
Right. So that certainly in the short term is not a practical solution. So the next question is well, what maintenance can we and they be doing around those power lines, on those trees to lessen the risk of limbs falling across? And I think we've got a lot of opportunity there. As for Spectrum and my personal mission, my view is that we'll have better service, maybe even cheaper service, if Spectrum has competition here in the valley. And I would like to see whether or not we can't attract another player into this marketplace in that. And so we'll see. We'll work on it. But I think the mayor's meeting with the power company and beginning to explore options about what both we and they can do to lessen the risk of power outages is hopefully will be fruitful. Hopefully that'll be a good thing, a good start.
That's great. And I just have one other idea or comment that we've been talking about as a neighborhood, and maybe this has been brought up before, but during an outage, would it be possible to open up the community house to people so they can charge their devices, get Wi-Fi, get heat?
We actually did that. And if you called the town hall coordinators, they were telling people that they could go there and charge and get warm or, whatever.
Great.
So yes, that was an option. But it's hard to get that word out on that because nobody's got anything to get the word out on it. But if they called, we told them.
But Karen, to her point, if that became standard protocol for the village, that whether it was a snowstorm or a windstorm in the summer or a massive thunderstorm that took down trees, if we had a general protocol that was appreciated by every resident, that in that kind of emergency, the community house will be opened for heat, power to charge your batteries. We're not saying we're going to put up cots for the night. We're not the Red Cross, but if we had a list of 5 or 6 services that every resident could be ensured that if they could get down to the community house, they could get some relief for a few hours. I think that would be a tremendous service to every villager.
See, that's something we could put in the State of the Village this year and say, if we have this again and you need to charge, you could go to the community
We just
house.
have to monitor right now because of the pandemic.
Oh, I realize the pandemic throws everything off.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying if every villager knew
But
that
for
in a
future,
real-
when it's a normal kind of time.
Yeah.
And we did use the community house before we had water. We actually brought in a tanker.
Yeah.
And people went to the community house to get water, get whatever, because we had this for quite a length of time in the 90s.
I just think it's a nice service to let every resident know that if they could get down to the community house, they could at least depend on a couple hours of X, Y, and Z. Warmth, charging.
I like it. We did do that with this, but again, they had a call so that they would find out about it. Anything else, Aaron?
Just a comment.
That's helpful. Thank you. And yeah, we can talk offline. I've got other ideas, but I'll wait. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
My
question.
cat is, come
Can
on.
I ask a question? Is there any way we could set up a program for COVID shots like we've done for other situations. I know right now we're at the beginning of this, but if we can get our name in there and get a district, we could possibly, take care of our citizens, which we have an elderly group.
Well, Tom is part of the MyPed with it's not MyPed, whatever it is, with the shots. We're working on that, actually. Tom is aware of that, and he'll give us notification.
Yeah, we would go through the MyPod model that we are involved with the other communities that are part of the Mayfield School District. But right now, everything is very much in flux because the
No, I understand that, but we might as well start something, even if we finish it.
require different procedures. So if indeed we are given a quantity at some point in the hopefully not too distant future, we're prepared to do that. And the same is true of the community center. That I see Erin's not. She's probably still listening, but the community center, we have already worked with and trained with the Red Cross so that we can put in, we practice putting cots in. Once we put a generator over there that took care of the whole building, we designated that as a shelter. So it is a warming center and it can be used. But I think kind of going back to what the mayor said, when these things happen, sometimes it's difficult to get that message out. We can push it out certainly, but it doesn't mean it's being received.
Right.
So those plans are all in place.
But your reverse 911, like when we got the message that the Riverview was closed and River Road, maybe a message like that. But again, it's not going to get to everybody, unfortunately.
Right, you gotta have power. Yeah.
We can push it out. It doesn't mean that someone's getting it. But, obviously.
Well, but that came through cell phone. A lot of people had cell coverage, so.
Yeah.
So I had a question or a comment, I guess, Tim, for you. I'm really glad to hear that you're going to be looking at alternative, cable options, and maybe just something to think about is collaboration with other communities. Like we have NOPEC for energy. Maybe there's some option like that for another cable operation. We're on the short end of the stick because of our.
That's true. I wonder if NOPEC would ever look at something like that for all
That'd
the
be
communities that they work with.
Good idea.
I actually did talk with NOPEC about that, and they said that they have a legal charter that only allows them to do that for energy.
Yeah.
But I'm suggesting, again, another collaborative, another organization. But
Well, I think
It's very early days, and I will tell you that I am naive on the whole subject. There is the cable business is kind of a complex weave of marketing agreements and territories, and I just don't know what I've committed myself to yet. So, but I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
And we'll see what's
if you need any help, I'd be interested in helping with you.
great.
I would
Okay,
as
super.
well. I would as
Tim,
well.
this is
I'd like
Todd.
to bring up a
Wait,
question for Todd.
Todd has,
Tim, give me a call. I've done cable TV work for 30 years, so.
Oh, wonderful. I will. Thank you.
Okay, don't go away, Todd, because we have another question for you.
Oh,
All right, Todd, this deals with political signs. We are way past the election. We still have a number of large signs on various properties. I'm aware of one specific situation where it was a large sign. The person took the sign down and put a pole up and put the political sign on a pole and now calls it a flag. And the flag is smaller than an American flag. It's smaller than other flags. So I'm just wondering, do we really have an ordinance that can be enforced? And if so, does the service department, Dave, have the proper tools to do something? And what do we find in other communities?
I think he does. I believe he does, and I believe that our most recent amendments are enforceable. However, I hesitate to give a legal opinion on an enforcement issue related to the First Amendment also over this Zoom meeting. So I will be glad to have a conference with you, Chip, and with Dave about how we might handle the flag situation, because it is a unique situation.
Okay, but I also
Have
do
a
notice.
lot of signs.
Yeah, talk
Yeah.
about the rest of the signs too.
But
because-
those signs, where we were was there was an ordinance in place.
Todd, we
with-
can't see you. We can see your light on the ceiling.
Well,
but
you
we can't see you.
Here I am.
Okay,
Um,
good.
That's
Want
better.
to see your handsome face.
Nice tie.
Yeah, we had an ordinance in place for a long time, up until October, that did permit political signs, but very, very small ones and limited number. As you'll recall, we amended that ordinance under First Amendment principles to have larger signs and more signs permitted on properties. However, residents decided that they wanted even larger signs than what are permitted in the new ordinance. All of that can be enforced, certainly. But when it comes to this issue of flags, I would really like to discuss that in confidence, attorney-client privilege with the enforcement officer, who is Dave. And Chip, if you want to be involved in that, that's fine also.
Oh, that's fine. I was just more interested in general. So Dave, where are you on starting to enforce people taking their signs down if they're oversized?
Well, we've notified them, and certainly we've had quite a few come down. So I know of one specific one that hasn't, and I'm going to try and give them a phone call. So.
The next step after the letter would be that we get the prosecutor involved, and Dave, it's a first degree misdemeanor.
Yeah, I believe it's classified. Todd, you could probably help me. It's a first degree misdemeanor, which is, I believe, penalty up to $1,000 per day per violation. So
Correct.
if we had, say, 2 signs, it would be $2,000 per day.
And it could be anywhere from $1 to $1,000, depending on the judge.
Okay, thank you.
Most of our cases are one sign. Most of them, the big ones, the problem ones, have come down, but we have one that is a real problem.
Okay.
Well, we have a lot of flags.
Okay. Well, let us take a closer look at the flag issue. As you know, lots of people like to fly the American flag, the Ohio state flag, and other types of flags. So
Gates Mills flags. Yep.
Michigan flag.
Well,
No, not anymore.
My flag.
CGUN, that team that just canceled.
Yeah, thank God. Thanks. Save the humiliation.
Dodged that bullet, didn't we?
Exactly. And then we turned around and extended his contract for another
I
year. The
heard.
stupidest move I've ever seen. Anyways, I don't think that's part of council discussion, but
I was gonna say,
probably not.
do we want to end the meeting and have this discussion offline?
Motion to fire Harbaugh.
No.
yeah.
Okay, moving along.
Okay, so are there any other
Mayor.
questions out there from the audience? Tom, can you tell anything, or anybody?
No, there aren't. There were no questions on the live stream.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Chip,
Then I'm
that's
going
really
to
what I do,
wish
but-
everybody a Merry
Second.
Christmas, Happy Hanukkah,
holidays.
holidays, and you'll get something from us as to when we'll get back together on Zoom.
Okay.
Okay,
you.
motion to adjourn by Allward, seconded
Seconded by
by
Reynolds.
Turner,
Reynolds. Allward,
Turner,
Fight for it. Come on,
Frankel.
let's stop it.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
it was mine, yes.
Helps, Whitney.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Nice to see you all. Happy holidays.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Great meeting.